Ved Krishna is joining us from Yash Pakka, the Chief Strategy guy, and of course promoter family as well. Ved, thank you so much for joining us. Nice to have you in India. Talk to us about this expansion which you have actually announced. I was talking to one of your large shareholders, and the one question which is coming to their mind was that on the one hand you have high pledges, on the other hand you have debt as well. And you have announced expansion. How's the math working? What would you like to share with your shareholders and viewers?
For having me. It's a pleasure to be online with you. I think first a little bit about what we do. So we are basically looking to grow more and more in the compostable packaging space. The focus is on finding alternates to single-use plastics. And that is the direction we've been heading for the last 8-10 years. And now, of course, we want to go further in that direction by finding more alternates in the bag space, especially bag and wrapping space, where again, we see a lot of single-use plastics being used. So again, a lot of our work is in research and development and trying to come out with newer products. And this is going to basically address that area. So we've gone into styrofoam replacements through our molded products about 3 years back actually now, and we are trying to expand that further. There's a lot more demand and product rationalization that needs to take place. And the other thing we are trying to do is move into more specialized segments where there is papers that can resist grease and water and things like that. A lot of development has taken place in that domain, and we are ready to launch it commercially. Now, you asked me a couple of things. One is, of course, that we do have debt. We are still sort of coming out of the last expansion that we did. But that said, we are very comfortably placed as far as the debt goes, and we are fine taking more debt, and the debt equity is going to be relatively stable still. So that basically gives us a lot of courage to go ahead. And of course, we have to move into the direction that we have actually even publicly announced, which is to significantly increase our exposure to the compostable markets. And those are the two reasons that enable us to go forward with this expansion.
Right. Ved, what about your the pledges? What amount of your stake is pledged right now?
Oh, that's a good question. We keep getting asked that in the investor calls that we do as well. So we have grown, one must realize that we have grown from a 30 crore company in about 2005, 2006 to about a 260 odd crore company in this period. What has happened in that time is that, of course, we've had to take debt, we've increased equity, but because bankers typically want more comfort in terms of collaterals, the promoter shareholding has had to be pledged. So the 100% promoter shareholding is pledged for the company resources. So I think that is important to clarify, that there is no other exposure apart from money being invested into the organization. So because of that, because they need collaterals, we've had to pledge. But now that the company is in far better financial health, we are looking at unpledging at least part of that holding.
Right. Ved, talk to us about what stage of development is your non-aroma flexible biodegradable packaging, and what are the companies you are in discussions with? We understand it will be suitable for noodles, pasta, etc. So you must be talking with consumer companies which are manufacturing of that. Give us some update there.
So the domain that you've mentioned is something that we have actually been acting on longer than what we see in the molded product segment. So it's basically the flexible packaging segment, and this includes the multiple layer bags like potato chips and things like that, which actually are much more harmful than a simple plastic bag, because these are so well engineered to resist aroma and resist oxygen and water that they have to be engineered really well, which means that they are not going to leave the planet for 100,000 years at least. So we have been developing an alternate for that, and the work has been on for a while. Like you mentioned, there are companies we work with when we look at a beta product and take trials. Most of the work that we are doing is actually undercover in terms of there are NDAs signed, so I can't possibly take the name of the companies, but I can definitely say that we are looking at what you're talking about, the non-aromatic products right now, which is things like instant noodles. We look at pasta, rice, pulses, whole spices, and things like that. So we work with the certain companies which are really interested in finding alternates. What we are also doing is finding, so these are the way the structures are made to put in different substrates to be able to hold to oxygen and water. But we are also looking towards nature to find solutions through something called biomimicry, which is understanding how nature works and trying to find a single substrate solution as well. But those are things in the research and development phase. As far as the launch is concerned, we definitely want to come out with a commercial product in 2 years from now.
Right. Ved, we understand you've also opened an office in US and are working a lot of R&D there. Can you tell us the roadmap and objective of that?
Sure. So we've just started a 100% subsidiary by the same name, Yash Pakka Incorporated, in US. What we realize is that a lot of work going forward for us will be in the innovation space. There are two aspects for that organization. One is to look at collaborations, because again, the world is becoming more open, more open to collaborations and possibilities opening there. So we've been talking to a lot of companies. We already work with various research companies today, and we will now try to consolidate that more in terms of collaborations. Our innovation domain, like I mentioned in the last question, is mostly in the biomimicry space, in trying to understand how nature packages, and nature fundamentally uses two main ideas, which is sugars, celluloses, and proteins. So, how do you blend the two of them and create an actual product which can go back into nature? So that's the broad domain that we look to do our R&D in the future. So the first step is collaboration. The second step is establishing our own R&D in the US.
Mm-hmm. And, you have publicly mentioned your plan 2025 of taking your top line and profitability many times, over 6, 7, 8 times from here. How are you on that plan of yours? If we work it backwards, are you just on track? Are you behind, or you're ahead of the target which you've set for yourself, the kind of numbers we've posted right now?
Bang on target and excited. So of course the COVID year has taken a little bit of beating, but that hasn't turned the spirits down for the team. And we are actually entering in this week, later this week, we'll go into our annual retreat where we actually do the planning for next year. But the targets are very clear. This is where we have to reach, and we have certain plans around it. Of course, the big expansion is also going to lead to a lot more top line growth. But we are relatively confident that we are going to meet the bottom line targets even in 2021-22.
Right. Ved, there is a lot of innovation actually happening in the area of packaging globally. People are coming out with starch-related products which appear similar to plastic but are water soluble and degradable. So much innovation is actually happening. What percentage of your mind share or your existing resources which the company is generating are you really devoting to innovation to perhaps, which if it works out well and is commercially viable, can completely take a leap. It could be a big leap for the company going forward.
We are deeply married to the idea of innovation and finding solutions as a company. So of course, we have different teams looking at different aspects. So the path-breaking ideas are directly I look at that, and I am the person who leads that domain. And of course, we have a great team there that works along with it. And of course, we have many collaborations. So two of our points are relatively set in terms of the raw materials. We only work with agricultural waste or residues. And the second is creating compostable packaging substances. So these two are the fixed ideas, and then we do various researches in between. It's a very exciting space for sure. There is lots to be done. There is a huge amount of damage that we have done in the last 70 odd years since the petroleum-based polymers came along. We will have to do there is no way humanity will survive if we don't undo and think about that packaging domain. And most of it, like almost 60 to 70%, is single-use packaging. So we will have to find solutions. We will have to find solutions at scale. So that is the big challenge. A lot of people do very boutique work, but there is not enough raw material available or not enough market available because the prices or the cost is so high. So we have to keep those in mind, because still there are not good enough alternative products. The struggle will continue, because plastic is extremely convenient. You can pack liquid in it and solid in it, and it has enough strength, and the cost is extremely low. So our work is continuing in that direction. We remain very hopeful to find solutions as we go forward. There's a lot of work that we are doing with different ideas. And I hope that we will continue to commercialize those and keep introducing new products.
Right.